Baghdad, a city of 1,000 layers, each whispering the legacy of empires, eclipses, revolutions, and revelations. Beneath its soil lies the pulse of Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, where kings once ruled by the stars and scribes etched the future into clay. But in 1938, from the dusty shelves of a forgotten museum basement, a relic emerged. Strange, silent, and shrouded in paradox. A clay jar, a copper cylinder, an iron rod. Together, harmless. Separate, mundane. But fused, they may have whispered the echo of electricity, 2,000 years before Benjamin Franklin dared to fly his kite. This is the mystery of the Baghdad Battery. In the outskirts of Baghdad, near a site called Kujut Rabu, archaeologists sifted through the soil of an ancient Parthian settlement. The Parthians, warriors of the steppe, rivals to Rome, and masters of mounted archery. Among shards of pottery and remnants of forgotten dwellings, they uncovered something that refused to speak in the language of its time. A clay vessel, just over 5 inches tall. Inside it, a copper cylinder sealed with asphalt. Piercing through the top, a corroded iron rod. It was catalogued without ceremony, its significance buried under assumption. That is, until Wilhelm König, an Austrian archaeologist and museum director in Baghdad, looked closer. To König, this was not a storage jar, nor a ritual vessel. It was something far more impossible. He proposed in 1939 that this ancient object was nothing less than a battery, an electrochemical cell crafted nearly 2 millennia before the birth of modern electrical science. If König was right, it would rewrite the timeline of technological discovery. Let us strip away time, myth, and dust, and examine the artifact through the eyes of science. An electrochemical cell requires 3 things: a positive electrode, a negative electrode, and an electrolyte, a conductive solution that facilitates the flow of electrons. In this case, the copper tube, the iron rod, and the acidic residue suspected to be vinegar or grape juice. Place the rod inside the cylinder. Fill it with an acidic liquid. A chemical reaction begins. Electrons flow, not violently, not visibly, but undeniably. Enough voltage to tingle the skin, enough to electroplate gold onto silver, enough to etch, enough to suggest intention. But here lies the paradox. If this was a battery, where are the wires? The devices? The purpose? Why would the Parthians, a civilization without recorded electricity, build such a device? What did they intend to power, and, more importantly, did they even know what they had created? The Parthians were no strangers to innovation. They built sprawling cities, mastered horse archery, and resisted the might of Rome for centuries. But they left behind no texts, no diagrams, no blueprints of science. What they did leave was ambiguity. Could it be that this battery was a form of electrotherapy, ancient shock treatment, or perhaps a tool in sacred rituals, where a spark was mistaken for divine power? Or was it used to electroplate gold, faking wealth, deceiving emperors? Modern experiments replicated Koenig's claims. Fill the vessel with vinegar. Connect the terminals. A volt appears. Between 0.5 and 1 volt, not enough to power a bulb, but enough to do something. In 1978, a German engineer named Dr. Arne Eggebrecht successfully electroplated silver using a replica of the Baghdad Battery. He claimed it worked. Critics argued he used modern materials, yet the possibility lingers like incense in a forgotten temple. Did the ancients possess a primitive understanding of electricity centuries before it had a name? Science thrives on doubt, and skepticism soon found its voice. Dr. Paul Craddock of the British Museum dismissed the idea. "It's a nice story," he said, "but it just doesn't add up. No ancient texts mention electrical phenomena, no other batteries, no known devices." Craddock and others argue the artifact may have held sacred scrolls, its copper tube protecting fragile papyri, its seal preserving time. In that light, the iron rod becomes merely structural. The acidic residue? Coincidental, products of age and chemistry. And so we stand at a crossroads. One path leads to a past where electricity flickered in secret workshops under the gaze of gods. The other, toward misinterpretation, an accident of modern bias applied to ancient simplicity. What then is the truth? To answer that, we must explore a broader question. What is a lost technology? Throughout history, knowledge has been gained, hoarded, forgotten, and rediscovered. The Antikythera mechanism, pulled from a Grecian shipwreck, revealed gears so precise they mirrored 18th century clocks. Yet it predates them by 1,500 years. Damascus steel, stronger and more flexible than anything Europe forged for centuries, its method lost until modern metallurgy caught up. Could the Baghdad Battery be another whisper from a forgotten workshop? Not an energy source for cities, but a tool, a curiosity, a sacred spark. Perhaps it was never meant to be practical, but powerful in another way. A miracle to impress, a secret of the temple, a whisper of divinity hidden in vault and vinegar. In a time when gods ruled the sky and alchemy blurred into science, even a single spark could carry the weight of heaven. The Baghdad Battery forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that history is not a straight line, but a tapestry, woven, unwoven, rewoven again. It reminds us how much of our past is speculation, educated, reasoned, but incomplete. It tells us that genius can bloom in isolation, that what one era forgets, another rediscovers. That somewhere 2,000 years ago in a workshop by the Tigris, someone may have stumbled upon a force they could not name, but could use. A mason, a priest, a curious soul. They did not call it electricity. They called it power. Today, the Baghdad Battery resides in silence, locked in glass, unused, unresolved. But it speaks to something deeper within us. The ache of curiosity, the hunger for discovery, the relentless human drive to question everything. In a world where lightning was once divine, where fire was stolen from gods, and where science is still young. This clay jar dares to ask us, how much have we truly discovered? And how much have we simply rediscovered? In the end, it may not matter whether the Baghdad Battery lit a bulb or plated a trinket. What matters is that someone tried. They mixed metal and earth and acid. They sealed it with care. They waited, and something happened. A moment of awe, a glimmer of understanding, a spark, not a voltage. If you found yourself drawn into this mystery, into the ancient silence that still hums beneath our feet, then join us. Because history isn't just what's written, it's what's hidden. Like, subscribe, and continue this journey through the lost chapters of Earth's past. Because the story of us is far from over.